Hey, what's up, everybody? This your girl Kiki, and this is Kiki Pretty Life 23. What's up, y'all? This is your girl Kiki, and I'm back with another video of one of my crafts. So I'm going to be knitting this time. I'm not going to be crocheting. My great grandma actually taught me how to knit. At first, she was trying to teach me how to crochet, but I couldn't catch on at the time. So she ended up teaching me how to knit, and I ended up catching on as a kid. So I did a little bit of knitting, but then for some years, I ended up not doing it because I just, lost interest or whatever. But now that I have gotten back into crocheting, I'm like, you know what? I really want to start knitting again. So I'm going to be knitting my first shirt here, and it's going to be a very pretty shirt with this beautiful flex purple yarn from Loops and Threads from the Michael store, just in case you want to know where I got it from. And I'm going to be making it with some fluffy yarn for the trims. It's just going to come out so freaking cute, and of course this is my favorite color. So now, what I did not know, buying these needles right here, so these are the 4.5 millimeter ones. So this came in a really cheap kit. This kit came with the circular needles and the straight edge ones, like the ones that come separate, and then it came with some extra stuff like measuring tape, and it came with some what else it came with? It just came with a bunch of little different things like scissors and stuff like that. It was really nice. Now the only thing is, and this was a learning curve for me because I never did circular knitted before, is that I was gonna need more different size wires. So this kit came with I think like a 40 millimeter wire, a 60 millimeter one, 80 millimeter one, and a 100 millimeter one. So that's the length of the wire that's attached to the needles, right? Now these type of circular needles, these are the ones that are permanently on the wire, so you can't like interchange them like the interchangeable needles, because I did not know that there was interchangeable circular needles that you could like take the needles off the wire and then put them on another different length wire, which is super important because once I got to the arms, I realized that the smallest wire that I had was a 40 millimeter one, which is not short enough because the arms that I was working on were a little bit smaller. So I realized I had to purchase a separate wire for my interchangeable needles, which by the way, I did get another kit that had the interchangeable needles, which you're gonna see me switch in a minute. There's gonna be some purple knitted needles that I'm working with, but those you can take off the wire. So but anyways, I did not have a 20 millimeter, so I had to work with what I had, but I made sure that I ordered some extra needles off of Temu, which is dirt cheap. They do take a long time to deliver, but you can get the more shorter ones, like the 20 millimeter ones, the 10 millimeter ones, and I think there was a 5 millimeter one that I ordered. So those are perfect for like socks, gloves, and they're also perfect for doing the arms as well because they're small enough. Because if the wire is too long and too big, and then you try to knit some arms on there, what's going to happen is that the stitches are going to be too stretched out, and it's going to be super difficult to try to get the needles underneath the stitches. So I learned a long way of doing this. Like it took some money to waste for me to realize what I really needed, and I was very smart about it. So now I got all these knitted needles. I got like 2 sets of circular needles. Like these are the permanent ones, so those do not come off, but then the purple ones I got, you could take them off and switch the wire with those. So I learned my lesson, but honestly I'm glad I have the separate straight edge ones too that are separate and not circular, because those were perfect for me doing the shoulder parts, which you'll see in a minute. But yeah, I learned a lot. It was definitely a learning curve for me, so lesson learned. So this is where I got so far after crocheting. I keep saying crocheting. I meant to say knitting. Like, I've been crocheting for so long, it's hard for me to get my head around saying knitting. But yes, it took me around, I would say a few days at this point of getting to this length here. Now, give or take, I was kind of taking short moments with my roll. So like I was taking like probably like 30 minutes on one roll, and then the next roll I did about maybe like 40ish to maybe an hour or so like that. You know, I just didn't really like take too much time on this. So like if I was doing this like all day, I probably could have got way further, but because I was also working and stuff like that, I didn't really have time to just stick to knitting all in one session. So but yeah, the pattern came out really, really cute, and I love the yarn, by the way. Again, that Loops and Threads yarn is so nice, like from Michaels. It's really soft and it has a really nice feel to it, and the color looks so good, like with the little flecks on top of that purple. It adds something, you know, it adds a little flavor. I don't know, but anyways, so yeah, that's where I got so far. And then we're gonna fast forward it to when I say a few more days after this. This is how it ended up looking. So this is when I got to the top part of the piece here. So you can see I'm using the separate knitted needles. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say that, but these are the ones that are not connected by a wire. So for the tutorials that I was watching, I've seen a lot of people use these instead of the circular needles, which it is a little bit more easier. Now from the front part, I'm working on the strap, and I also was making this into a V-neck in the front, which was very difficult. I ended up jacking that up a little bit because some of the stitches were pretty loose at the border, but it's okay because we're going to cover it with some furry yarn anyway, so it won't really matter. But yeah, that's how it was coming so far. So that was the back part and the front part. Now making this, it was definitely different compared to crocheting, like, because basically you're doing everything at once. Like you're doing the front panel and the back part all together, and then you're doing the straps and the collar, everything at once, and then you're doing the sleeves from, like, you know, the amount of holes that you leave, amount of room that you leave for the holes of the arms, you crocheting from that piece. You're not doing like separate pieces like you would with crocheting, where, you know, you do like a separate front panel and then you do a separate back piece, and then you do the arm pieces and you just crochet them together. Like, it's so much different. It's just, you're doing everything at once. So that's a little something that I noticed when it comes to knitting, is that you're basically just doing everything from one piece. Like, you're not actually doing separate pieces. So that's something that I definitely thought that was pretty cool when it comes to knitting, is that it's such a different type of style and technique to it compared to crocheting. So, and my hands are definitely was getting tired in this one. My stitches were just coming slower and slower. I was purling on this one because it's so different, y'all. Like, once you get to the strap part, you're no longer just knitting with just one type of stitch. Like, now you're doing two different type of stitches, because you're going, like, you're not going in a circular one direction. You're flipping back and forth like a full 180. So it's so different. It just really is. And yeah, so that's what I noticed. So this is the look of the shirt so far. So pretty much, I mean, it looks like a tank top, and honestly, you could wear this as a tank top right here, but I want to finish it and make it into a shirt. So, and then that's the arm part right there. Now this part was so hard because I had to learn how to decrease my stitches, and you can tell it was definitely like difficult as far as my tension because of how fluffy and loose it looked on the edges. But yeah, it was coming out pretty decent, way better than I expected. I thought I was totally gonna screw it up. So, but yeah, so that's the straight knitted needle that I left my stitches on. So I still gotta cast off, is what they call it, off the knitted needle, the stitches, because that's gonna help me seal in the stitches there, just like I did in the front, because as you can see, it's not on no knitted needles because I casted them off. So that's what the inside looks like, and that's what the outside looks like. So pretty much at this point, I just gotta knit those pieces together, the straps to the back part of the shirt. And then this is a quick review of seeing how I pretty much sewed the two pieces together. So I ended up sewing them together and not knit them together. But yeah, I'm just taking the front part and sewing them straight to the back part. Now with this, it's a little finicky because you don't just want to sew this together just any type of way. You have to go along the stitches and sew it up. So I actually had to find a tutorial on YouTube of how to do it, because I didn't just want to just like sew it just all randomly and then it ended end up looking jacked up. I want the stitches to kind of blend in with the knit stitches that are in the front. So you have to basically sew them together in a way where it looks like a knit stitch, another knit stitch attached to the other stitches, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I have to definitely take my time with this one. Okay, so then this is the part where I work on the arm. So as I said, I wish I had some smaller sizes, but the only small size that I had was a 40 millimeter. So I had no choice but to work with that, because the other wires that I was waiting for, the more shorter ones, wasn't gonna come for another couple of weeks. So I'm just gonna work with what I have. Now the stitches were stretched out a little bit, I will say that, but it still came out pretty good. I just wish that I had a smaller size. So these are the interchangeable knitting needles here. So these are the ones, again, that you could take the knitting needles off the wire, you could twist them off and then change the wire piece or the size of the knitting needles with them. So these you could pretty much switch them up any kind of way. But yeah, these purple ones are really, really pretty, and they come in different colors too, like gold, rose gold. I think there's like silver ones. I think there's like a black one too, but like they were really, really pretty. But yeah, so I'm just working on that piece there. And then once I get done with the arms, you can kind of get an inside look of how it's looking so far. Now, one thing I will say is that the arms did came out a little too big on me. In fact, they came out too big. It was kind of like, it looked like a bell bottom type of arm look. Now, if that's what I'm going for, then yeah, that would be good. But I wanted them a little bit more fitted on my arms. So, and I think honestly, I just blame it on the circular needles that I had. I wish that they were a little bit more smaller. And also, I think I added a little too many stitches onto them. So I think that's what made it too big as well. But I mean, either way, it still was coming out pretty good and everything. I ended up doing the sleeve a little bit longer than this, but yeah. So I still have plenty of yarn left, so I'm definitely gonna have a lot more after this project. So I have to figure out what else I'm gonna do. But you can see this would have looked good as a tank top too. Honestly, I could have just stopped there, but I really wanted to make it into a shirt, so you know, I had to keep going. But that's how it was looking so far, and it fitted so well on me. Like, I thought it was gonna be too tight, and it actually ended up being a perfect size for me. So I was pretty happy with the results so far. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the fluffy yarn to the trim part of my sweater. So I'm going to add it to the arms, and I'm also going to add it to the collar as well. Now, if you want to know the specific yarn that I'm using, I will post the brand right here. But I got this off of Amazon, and it was one of their like fluffy yarns. I think I ended up getting like 2 rolls of it. This was actually some yarn that I've been having when I actually first started crocheting. This was the first yarn that I used, and it was the worst choice ever because this yarn was so hard to crochet with. But for this project, I decided to crochet this in with a, I think this is a 4.5 crochet hook. But I'm gonna do 2 rows of this to create that little fluffy look. And I feel like this purple, this lavender, it's like a lavender actually, looked there really good with this color. So I just felt like, you know, might as well add it in there as a little extra something to the project. And plus it's gonna cover up those horrible stitches that I did for the collar and for the arm. So I feel like it definitely was a good cover up. And overall, I just think it really added something to the shirt as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna fix the arms because again, the arms are a little too big. So I'm gonna be using this Stretch Magic stretching thread. Now this is used for making jewelry, but this is also perfect for this purpose because again, like the arms are too big. So what I'm gonna do is take this thread here, which is nice and stretchy, and I'm gonna thread it through some yarn, what is it called? Yarn needles. So they're not as sharp as like regular sewing needles. They're a little bit more blunt at the ends, a little bit more smoother. but I'm going to be using one of these to basically sew the thread on the inside of the arm. So what I'm doing is going along the fluffy parts because they're going to disguise the thread the most, so you're not going to see it through the arms or anything like that. Now I do prefer using the fabric stretching thread, but I did not have it on me, so I ended up ordering some, so I'm still waiting for that to come in the mail. But this is perfect for, like, say if the project on you is a little too loose, like around the trim part, you can always just do this little trick here and that'll help shrink the size quite a bit. So what I do is that I sew it through, and then every so often I kind of like pull on the string so that way I could shrink the arms. Now it is going to look a little lumpy just because the arms are so big, so when I do stretch the yarn across, it is going to make them look a little bit more like rippled, but honestly that don't really bother me, especially since, again, this is my first time, so I'm still learning. But yeah, it's gonna look a little wrinkly, but that's okay because once you put it on, it's going to smooth out quite a bit. So you will see once I try it on towards the end of the video. So this is the final results after finishing sewing in the elastic, so you can see how it looks. I love the fluffiness of the trims. It looks so good with the purple and that flex yarn from Loops and Threads. It looks so pretty. I absolutely love the way how it came out, so I cannot wait to do more projects with that type of yarn since I do got a lot left. I still got about like 2 more balls. I'd rather say skeins, I don't want to say balls, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. But you can see the arms again are a little wrinkly. They look kind of like poofy, but then once I put on the shirt, this is how it ended up looking. So you can see how it's a lot more fitted now. It's not all loose and bell-bottomish like it looked before, and it fits so nice exactly to my size. So I'm pretty happy that it came out fitted, and it didn't come out again too tight or too loose or anything, and it looks so good along my neckline. I felt like the V line really came out decent too. Still could be a little more work done on that, but honestly, like I said, this has been a while since I last knitted, so for it to come out this good, I'm actually pretty impressed with myself. So that's pretty much it, y'all. That is my first knitted project, so I hope y'all enjoyed the whole process. Hope y'all like, and I'll see y'all on my next video for any other projects I do, or vlogs, or cooking, or just whatever. I'll be doing whatever on here. But y'all have a good one, be safe, and yeah, I'll see y'all on my next one. Deuces. I just want to appreciate everyone for watching my video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. It's going to be below my video. And also hit that notification bell for more updates on my content. Along with that, you can follow me on my other social media pages as well for more updates on my other content that I post outside of here. But anyways, I hope y'all have a good one. Stay safe out there and stay blessed. Goodbye.